Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. So today we're heading back into the past once again and taking a look at 7 things that only some of you guys, the OG Hearthstone players, will remember. Now for the most part of this video, I'll try to include gameplay footage about what we're talking about, but I couldn't exactly find footage on everything, but for the most part I have something to show just to further express my point and make it a little bit easier for you guys to follow along. As always, all the information and sources, as well as the footage used, will be linked down below for you guys to go ahead and check out for yourselves. I always endorse you guys to go check them out, and especially the videos so you guys can support the original creators. However, without wasting too much time, let's get straight into the video. 7th on our list, we have the old beta ranking system, and that's something to definitely talk about here. So prior to what we know now, the old ranking system was actually super odd and overall just very weird. You could never fall down a rank, and it would take very long to achieve your next rank. If you even lost a single game, you'd be held back a lot. I mean, it was super janky altogether and really not satisfying to play because you could often win 10 games in a row and see little to no progress at all. There's a couple ranks, let me list them out for you guys. So you would actually go from novice to journeyman to copper, silver, gold, platinum, diamond, master, and grandmaster, which were the ranks at the time, having to gain 3 stars between each rank. I'll post some visuals up here. So almost like, I don't know if you guys play League of Legends, but almost how you guys have to win 2 out of 3 games to rank up to the next rank. It used to be here in Hearthstone and it just didn't really work very well, and I think you guys can see why. Not only was it a lot harder to rank up, but that's not even mentioning the fact that rank would actually reset at the end of each week, which raised a lot of complaints for players who are generally a lot less active and couldn't keep up with the short time periods that Blizzard has set. The ranked mode was originally known as weekly tournament and really acted overall weird, and it left a lot to be desired. As we know today, it was eventually reworked and it's a lot better now. This brings us on to the number 6 spot, which is the original hero powers. Basically, it used to be that some of the hero powers in Hearthstone had alternate effects. More notably, the Shaman hero power of Healing Totem also used to heal your own hero, which was super nice and powerful effect altogether. Another one would have been the Rogue hero power, who actually used to also buff your weapon with a +1 stack if you already had a weapon equipped. This, similarly, was not only nice, but actually very powerful. It was later changed to only grant +1 attack this turn during the early stages of Alpha. The concept itself, however, slowly proved to be very strong as players adapted, and it got out of hand very quickly, becoming more and more overpowered, and that's kind of when they decided to completely remove the bonus effects during the early beta. Now moving on to our number 5 spot, we have the beta Druid deck. So basically back in the alpha of Hearthstone, Spell Druid was one of the most overpowered decks, possibly one of the most overpowered ever in like the history of Hearthstone, with some truly insane decks that can't even be matched to today's standards in terms of power level. The main difference was that pretty much all of the spells could go face, and the cards like Bite and Claw did a lot more damage, with Ceneris also costing 8 mana instead of what we know now, the 9 mana. However, perhaps one of the most insane cards was the original Savagery, which originally costed 2 mana, not 3. Combined with the Claw and 3 mana, 6 damage Bite was simply just a crazy cheap board clear for players to use and gain control so early. It dominated in the beta after many nerfs before being reworked altogether. Now, the first nerf actually came during patch 1.0.0.338 and started to hurt the deck's effectiveness a lot, but it was still so powerful, which really goes to show just how overpowered it was. Then came Alpha Patch 2, and then the final nerf on 1.0.0.3890, which actually finally ruined the deck during the alpha stages, during the beta stages completely. However, that's enough of that. Moving on to number 4, we have secrets that can only activate on your opponent's turn. This is a little odd since activating your own secrets feels a little strange, but mostly the ability to do this was preventing us from creating new and powerful secrets that trigger off of events you can easily control, kind of like a minion dying. This ended up functioning just like spells. Instead of trying to bait your opponent into a bad play, this meant that this change actually kept secrets working like traps, and you basically lay them out for your opponents instead of spells that you can cast and use on your own turn. There were never really that many secrets that could have been activated on your turn, so it wasn't really such a relevant mechanic, but it was really weird but kind of fun when they activated on your own. It's kind of one of those, oh yeah, that's a thing moments more than anything. I think most of us can agree that Blizzard's choice to change it altogether makes the most sense. It was really odd and out of place, honestly. Moving on, at number 3, we have the original Arena. 9 wins max, with horrible rewards, especially for 6 wins. Most of you probably actually do remember the Arena. When Arena was first introduced back in the day after being changed from the Forge, it only went up to a max of 9 wins. The rewards on the flip side were notoriously weird and absolutely overall out of place. I mean, really out of place. So let me actually give you guys an example here. So it was technically better in terms of gold value to retire at 8 wins rather than strive to get the 9th win, and rewards 5 to 6 were completely trash, while the only decent ones were actually no wins to 2 wins. Compared to today, this was really a huge letdown at the time, especially since it went horribly wrong and the incentive to play and win was really just not there. It just wasn't satisfying altogether, and it really drove a lot of us to just simply not use or play the original Arena. Luckily, it was changed up, and for the most part, it's a lot better nowadays. Moving on to our number 2 spot, we have the Molten Giant OTK combo. And oh boy, I don't know if you OG players actually want to remember this. There's a little bit of trauma coming from here. This deck was absolutely insane back in the day, with Warsong Commander giving all of your precious minions charge. Basically, using Molten Giant created this combo with Youthful Brewmaster, where you could play an attack with 4 charged Molten Giants in a turn. You could also use cards like Alexstrasza, Faceless Manipulator, or Charge to make the combo even more consistent than it already was. Not to mention that the Brewmaster and other minions would get charge as well, so you could easily put out like 40 plus damage in a turn with the right combo pieces all aligning. It was really scary stuff. However, no matter how scary it really was, it's kind of nice to note and appreciate that it was actually an incredibly high level and skill intense format, and it created this gameplay with your opponent of trying to tiptoe around certain health counts in order to ensure that your opponent couldn't play the Molten Giant, all while having lots of removal and building your own combo. The mirror match for this deck was actually incredibly high level. Like, I guess I can't really explain or put into words how high level it was, but it did lead to very intense fights and awesome matches. Either way, it's something I definitely appreciate, and it's something I really do find awesome. That, however, does lead us to number 1, which was the Beta Miracle Rogue, all the way back during the beta, and this was a deck with some very insane properties. All of the rogue steps in particular were kind of just insane in general, and not to mention that hero power allowed you to give +1 attack for that turn if you already had one equipped. While I can't provide a lot of detail myself, this actually all gets even crazier if you head even further back into the alpha, where cards like Adrenaline Rush even further pushed this deck. It wasn't actually patched until 1.0.3890, and that actually ruined this deck with a bunch of nerfs that they had to give it. It basically went from extremely overpowered all the way until it was nerfed to the ground. And if you were paying really close attention to the patch notes, you'll also notice a lot of what we've talked about were in a very similar era. Actually, the Beta Miracle Power, Original Hero Powers, and the Beta Druid deck all got hit on the same patch of 1.0.0.3890, meaning a lot of things prior to this patch sort of mixed and kind of caused all sorts of issues and headaches for the players. It was definitely a rough time and made for some interesting moments left and right continuously. However, since way back in the day, most things have slowed down and surely smoothed out over time, and you know, we kind of know that nowadays. Anyways, enough gibberish. That just about sums up the video for today. What do you guys think about these things? Is there anything you guys maybe oddly miss? Some good or bad memories you have? I'd love to hear them all in the comments down below. And while you're down there, why not let me know what I could maybe improve in the future? I definitely love hearing feedback, and it's the best way to improve like usual. Also, if you liked the video, why not hit that like button, subscribe for future content, and as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.